What the Flick, Ben and Alonso, finally getting around to talking about episodes
Yes.
4, 5, and 6 of House of Cards. Construction work here at TYT obviously delayed things. We've read some of the negative reviews, and
I'm not getting it yet.
not getting it yet. I think this is pretty great. A lot of good stuff in these episodes. A serious fight at the end in episode 6 there
Yes.
between Claire and Frank, and that was a fight. What was the great line in there?
I should never have made you ambassador. I should have never made you president.
Yeah, that's.
Ooh.
So I get that, like, we're seeing a departure from some of the political realism certainly of season 1.
Sure.
But as theater, it's still. I mean, you're still getting this great sort of Kevin Spacey understanding how to use power. His failure to understand it is really good. I mean, they got totally manhandled twice. One by allowing Kim Dickens into the White House press corps by foolishly revoking the pass of the previous reporter.
You got rid of a pit bull and they replaced it with a dragon.
That's right. And then, but more so, this horrible mishandling of Dunbar, the Solicitor General, and not knowing about her friendship. And I guess some of that stuff is a little. Maybe why there's some objection. Like she's like, well, I'm friends with most of the judges.
Right.
Keep it quiet. Like, I feel like they would.
He would know.
They would know that, and then. So misreading that situation.
Right. Well, and obviously they're trying to play up the idea that because he didn't destroy the guy with Alzheimer's and like just make it public immediately to get his way, that came back to haunt him. You
right.
know?
He showed a degree of humanity, and then
Right.
he was crushed by it. And again, this is my last criticism. Then will be, I suppose, then, like nobody announces for president accidentally. Certainly without the White House knowing. Like I mean, she had a staff. She'd they would have. People have been hired.
That's true.
These people are friends with other people.
Their gossip would be going around.
It would not take
right.
long for the White House to learn that somebody else was running for president.
And I find it fascinating that Harry is becoming entrenched, and so now we have to wonder what's his long game. Is he bitter about not getting back into the fold with Frank, and so he's hopping onto a rising star, or Doug. Why do I keep wanting to call him Harry? I don't know why. Stamper.
Harry.
Sorry,
Right, Doug
Stamper.
Stamper, right.
Harry Stamper would be a better name. I think.
Michael Kelly. Let's
Sure,
just Michael Kelly.
fine. Stamper.
Yeah.
The law, or is he really being a mole for Frank?
Is he a mole of his own choosing?
Yeah.
Or is there even a conversation with Frank that we're going to find out about later, where Frank is not even letting any of the other people know? Like that's how.
Yeah.
Or is he just going to say, "Yeah, I'm now her campaign manager, and here's how you can beat her." And now am I back in?
That's true. Yeah. There's a lot of options.
There's no
here.
way I don't think that Doug is being loyal to Frank. I don't see it. I do not see him as a guy who
is being disloyal to Frank.
I don't believe. Sorry, I don't believe he's being disloyal. I think that Doug is maybe probably on his own, because of course simultaneously he's doing the job that Frank wants him to do, which is tracking using Lisa hideously through the hacker to track down Rachel.
Right.
And I presume there's only one thing to do there: track her down. Now we know she's in New Mexico. They narrowed that down, where the guy pretended to be HIV positive.
Yeah, that was just like, oh
my
man.
God. So they're gonna kill her.
Apparently, yeah. I mean, that's been the plan all along, because
Yeah.
she's the one sort of dangling thread from that whole thing.
Right. Even though, recognize the killing her is she's not going to talk about this.
No, but they can't risk it,
I guess,
so,
yeah.
it's funny that actually the thing with Kim Dickens, I like the parallel in that episode where the president about her says, you got rid of a pit bull and replaced it with a dragon, and then she later says, they got rid of a dud and replaced it with an atom bomb,
Right.
And talking about the president's.
Right. The Solicitor General Dunbar, she's great. She's the characters are all so good.
Yeah.
But let's get to the last one. Let's get to the episode 6, which was really set entirely
the Russia
in Russia with Petrov, Putin. They're not trying that hard. That's
and the big
that's Charlie Kane, William Randolph Hearst. There,
the most showily dramatic and least realistic moments all seem to revolve around some public statement where Petrov is concerned, because we already had the big grandstanding speech from Frank, and now Claire gets to have one.
Now Claire gets to have one too. And that's that thing doesn't really happen in politics.
but it's good TV.
It's good TV. Yes.
It's weird about this show because I don't. It makes me depressed about politics. Like it's so much of it is about power, and if anything good actually comes out of it, it seems either accidental or only in the service of some other awful thing, you know? And so here you have Claire coming face to face with Michael Corrigan, who's a guy of actual conscience, who actually believes what he's talking about, isn't just, you know, wanting to finesse it to get whatever he wants to get out of it, you know? Taking it to the extreme of like, all right, you've left me no other choices. Here's what I'm going to do. And so I get that could rock Claire to her foundation because she's such a political animal. But then I think this is also the woman who fired a pregnant woman and said, like, I will deprive your baby of medicine, you know.
Totally.
So like the idea that she has a heart is a little, you know, it's like, okay, well, that's what we're doing now, you know.
Right, but you got to remember the other stuff. It's all contextual. She doesn't
Sure.
have that much of a heart. She had a heart here because she had this personal thing with him.
Yeah.
Like she wouldn't have made that stand unless
They'd spent all that time together in the cell.
Unless it hadn't
yeah.
been her scarf and her conversation,
Right.
and her desire to not be the person who blows it, to prove her worth.
True.
As an when he should never.
No. And also their conversation about relationships, you know, I think that probably hit close to home as well. That he had more of a read on her and Francis than she wanted to admit.
They did a nice job of building up her fatigue, like, you know, as a thing. I mean, they did talk a lot about tired to the extent that somebody who has been up for 44 hours or whatever
Right.
could close their eyes and
just
snooze through somebody's suicide.
Yeah. And
I did not see that coming. I did not see that.
I was thinking, if anything, they would have drugged his food, like dragged him out of the prison and left. You know, like
right, just put him on a plane, be like,
yeah.
hey, he went home. Right.
Exactly.
That's right. Yeah. Why didn't they do that?
That's right. Because they wanted that statement. You know,
Right.
that was the thing.
Anyway, it was good stuff. I thought it's compelling. You know, I'm looking forward to watching episodes 7 through 9. It's hard to follow our strategy here of stopping.
I know. It's been hard for me too. I have not cheated. I've stopped at 6. I want to talk about 5 a little bit. That's where Kim Dickens is introduced, and yay, Kim Dickens.
Yeah,
but also that great scene in the ladies' room with Claire and the Russian ambassador, who has been so condescending and so sort of witheringly, oh, well, I'm not married to my boss, and nice dress, and so I love that she turned that around. She kung fu'd him, basically. Like, all right, you're going to get me on the feminine stuff. You're going to sit here while I pee, and I'm going to like deliver some devastating news to you, and you're going to sit here and take it.
Yeah, because he had delivered that wonderful line that I did write down. Truth is, you have no more business being ambassador as I do being first lady. He humiliated her. And so she humiliated him.
Yes.
That's Claire at her best.
Yes, absolutely. And then also there's that lingering moment. So you know the whole America Works thing has been happening behind all this, and the DC state of emergency, and FEMA getting called in, and like what's going to happen if there's an actual disaster, and that's been kind of a cool thing. I think that's a ticking clock where there's going to be a hurricane or something.
Be a hurricane, but are the Republicans really going to not give money when there are people in need of a hurricane?
Exactly.
That's what Francis is betting on. But of course,
who knows? Never underestimate.
Right, it's an incredibly risky bet.
And it's funny. Part of me wishes this show explained a little more in terms of in its chronology. Like, did we go to war in Iraq and Afghanistan? Like, you know, because there's an assumption of things being like they are now, and I just wonder how it all played out. But you know, like, did 9/11 happen in this show? That kind of thing.
Interesting. That's really interesting.
But the last shot of episode 5 is the barbecue guy in line for a job.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if that's going to pop up again later too. You know,
like, will they have to kill him too?
I know. That's how the Underwoods get shit done. You know.
Yeah, and but I thought the FEMA thing is really cool, just as a political device. Like, this is a national crisis. I'm using FEMA.
Yeah.
The pressure. I love the pressure they put on the FEMA exec to be like, what are you going to do? You've been here for 19 years. You have you're the only guy who can get it.
Exactly.
I'm going to put.
I could replace you with Michael Brown.
Right.
You know?
That's right. Brownie, you're doing a heck of a job. I'm going to put you into a position where the only person who can save your agency is you.
How you like me now?
But I like that. That's good. To me, that was good political stuff.
And I like the process by which Dickens's character is like getting this person off the record, this person on the record, and just enough stuff to be able to like report it.
That was really good reporting. That was really good how a reporter gets it. How a good reporter and a sourced reporter and a respected reporter gets her story. And you see the value of being trusted, because those people responded to her because they knew that she could be trusted.
Right. Peabody Pulitzer.
As opposed to the bullying that Seth did to get the previous reporter out.
Right.
Like no, that you really don't get it, and this can't work out for you. This can't work out for you. And of course she can complain. And she's the Credential Association or whatever it is, the correspondence. Like, you know, of course they'll talk. These are reporters. Many of them will talk about it. Anyway, good stuff. As soon as we can, we will be back with episodes
7 through 9.
7 through 9 and at greater length, we hope. Thanks, everybody.